What up? What up, Eric? How you doing today?
Hey, what's cracking, buddy boy?
Welcome to the Contagion Effect. We are excited because we already have a fight happening behind the scenes. Before we even get in. We have Tonto just gonna say, I win, I'm here first. And then Mikey, not so happy about it. Damn it, I wanted to be first. So
it was 2 minutes late. So you know.
we do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you, Tonto. Thank you, Mikey. We appreciate you guys.
Congratulations. I'll get you a sticker on Monday there, Mikey.
We gotta get a now you gotta send one to Tonto too.
I know. I
gotta get Tonto in the game. Oh, and then we got Carlos. A soon to be guest.
Soon to be guest. Finally gonna have his,
no longer a bridesmaid.
Finally gonna have his own show. Well, he got a new job. I heard he got a new job. I want to
got it.
I heard
okay.
Well,
yeah, share that for the show.
It's a job.
Yeah.
Part of the
CVMA.
So
I get you. I almost caught on, and then I was like, oh wait, you told me about this. Yeah. So let me deal with that. So Eric, other than our start,
how was your week, Mike?
My week was crap. Yeah, no, my week sucked. But you know what? I'm happy to be here. Just, we did a little green room action with our guest and got my hopes up for a better night, right? So,
well, I mean, hey, I love all of the Wi-Fi and all of the technology that you can plug in, and it's nice to be able to hear and have conversation and understand what's being said, and it's going to be a great show.
I'm confused. It's
okay. Don't worry.
Right.
You'll catch on. You'll catch up.
All right.
What is up, D?
What's up, Donald?
What's cracking?
What's up? Thank you for joining us.
Dude, he had a couple of good guests this week. Well,
I like that comedian, man. That was
pretty good. Good job, Don.
Yeah, Donald, you got some.
Go check out the two drunk dudes in the gun room.
Absolutely,
doing some big things. He's got some good guests coming up. I've been getting little information here and there.
Yeah,
gotta give him a little break between the trifecta for
with all our shows.
Oh, hey, so by the way, you're going to be hit up by this place and this place.
Yeah, Saturday. What's going on Saturday? You got it. It's gonna Carlos. This is on Eric because I don't know. This is an inside thing. Dying breed. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Blue Line's there. Blue Line's
yeah, remember the rodeo?
Yep. Oh no, Carlos.
Yeah.
Mike does not do rodeo because Mike actually grew up in Oakdale and hated every freaking rodeo weekend and all the fake cowboys that would come out. So sorry to you real cowboys, like Tonto who does real cowboy shit. All the fake ass cowboys that come out.
You
for
flatlanders going to come on up here to LaGrange
with their brand new boots and their brand new Wranglers.
Oh my God. Tristan, I've got shit on my new boots. No,
Tonto,
it was
of
funny.
Course you love rodeo, Tonto.
No, it's not a rodeo. He's doing this show at Dying Breed.
Right.
But it's in Oakdale and
it's rodeo
weekend.
Yeah, we know, Carlos. Yeah. We got you. Actually, we just got ahead on the rodeo thing. Sorry.
They actually posted their set list on
PX Cowboys.
Shark fans. Oh, shark. I had alligator boots back in the day, dude, with the point and everything. I believe they're called.
Come on, bro.
I swear I will find pictures, dude. I'm sure Nana Penny has. Well, yeah, that's all you have.
Yeah, Carlos repping.
Not wearing. Chucks.
Come on, you don't got those Wranglers, Carlos. Isn't that what you're supposed to wear rodeo weekend? No Dickies and Ben Davis stuff.
Man, what the heck? Yeah, I forgot.
They ain't waterproof.
That is great.
So my week was shitty. How was yours?
It was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was a struggle for the fact of next week I'm on vacation, right? So I got to clear this week. So I come into work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
You got 509s.
Maybe. I might go to work Thursday, but I have 1 week, and then Sean and I are going to San Diego.
Right.
So we had the dates all. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, we just got to get through this week.
No,
so
you got to get. I'm
like
2 weeks.
Girl, no, man. Like it's the 14th, 15th is the Friday, Saturday, then rolls into the following week. So I got 1 more week of vacation. I thought it was this week. It was a struggle. I'm going to earn that vacation definitely at work.
Yeah. Carlos, don't share any other info. You got a great interview coming up that we're looking forward to. So no sharing info from you, buddy.
Yeah.
No, you got and you're gonna be back for the next show.
Yes, for
whoa.
We're definitely gonna be possibly back for the next time. We're coming back Wednesday.
Okay.
Ish.
All right. Well, because didn't we have a show where you were literally driving here the day of
we were
the show?
going to. We came in. It was the cruise. We came in way early.
It was the cruise.
Or it was late night.
Taylor.
Hi,
what's up, Taylor? One of my favorite storytellers.
Gosh,
right there.
That's a storyteller right there.
That is a storyteller right there. When it comes, if you have not watched the show with Taylor, you need to. I mean, all of our shows absolutely phenomenal, but she probably has one of the best. I mean, one of the stories that's made me laugh the hardest. So thank you, Taylor.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Real quick, man. I know I'm bleeding into the background there, and it is the Modesto Nuts. It is minor league baseball week next.
You're welcome, day. Taylor. Thank you.
All that good stuff. I like spring. I don't like spring because the temperature starts getting hot. And I'm a fat guy. And
but after if you live in California, the amount of rain we've gotten,
bring it every day.
I hate the rain.
Oh man, hello Seattle.
I'd rather
hello Seattle.
No, not Seattle. Have you been to Seattle,
bro? I go to San Francisco every day.
And how good is that?
Seattle Junior.
Did you see the Cash App? The guy who created Cash App got stabbed walking through one of the high-end neighborhoods in San Francisco.
Oh, it don't matter. Look what happened to Pelosi's husband.
Let's not get going on that one.
Oh wait, that was the gay lover or something like that.
Yeah, let's not get going on that.
I believe they call that hammer time for more than one reason. But anyways, I digest.
You digest.
I digest.
Is that why we're big guys? We digest.
I digest.
All right, we need. You know what we need?
we need some
Gary Miller.
Gary Miller mobile tax service.
Absolutely. I'm still waiting for my money. You got your money. I need my money.
Hey, the best soundtrack ever for an ad.
Other than Scotty and all.
Well, no, for an ad though. For an ad. It's the best soundtrack for an ad.
Yeah. No, it is good. It's got a little kick to it. Security's all fired up back there, barking away. It's awesome.
Keep them away from us.
Yeah, and we already know a secret about our guest too, about dogs or something, right? So we'll have to bring that up.
I'm so glad we didn't bring that up in pre.
Yeah.
Look, he's gonna
be like, what do you guys talk about? What do you guys talk about?
I'm like, we got you,
Taylor. I got my $2, just trying to decide how to spend it all. Exactly, man. Well, you got $2 more than me, Taylor. You're lucky. All right, so man. We probably need to get to Scotty because I feel like we're gonna have some great stories coming up.
I do.
Unless you have something.
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I was sad because I was asked if I wanted to have a glass of wine, but anytime that I do want to get some wine, I know where to go. If I need that label, if I need something. AnJEllak Thank you for being a proud sponsor.
You don't know how to push the button? You don't know how to push that button?
Hold on. Let me do. Wait, where is it? Shoot. I don't even see it. Where's it at?
It's already on. It's on
there
the
you
screen,
go.
buddy.
Hey, AnJEllakWines.com.
This is how you do commercials right here.
Proud sponsor of the Contagion Effect.
This is how you do marketing right here.
We love it. Thank you so much for being a sponsor, for letting us do what we do. AnJEllakWines.com. The phone number is right there. Please,
get online, support.
Yeah.
Whatever
you want to do a show, we can come. We can't because I don't, but Mike does. and paparazzi. If you want to have a wine showing at your house, hey,
exactly. Tom,
AnJEllak Wines.
Waiting on my 2 cents.
.com.
He is my hype man.
Sponsor.
Good thing I don't have Mellick Consulting on here. Otherwise, he'd start going off on that.
Hey, and another thing, if you're a small business and if you want someone to take care of all your social media, Mellick Consulting.
Only if they deliver. They do. It is. Unfortunately, deliveries are expensive because shipping is expensive right now. So, all right.
They do deliver.
Enough of my 27 side hustles along with the 9 to 5 that has now made my life a little more difficult.
No, it's a lot difficult, bro. I'm actually kind of pissed.
I have no time
because you get up at 6 to 8. You do AnJEllak and AnJEllak. Holy
and then
shit, that rhyme.
Mellick,
and then you get in, and then you log in from 8 to 5, and I may get a phone call when
I get to get on the road. I mean, literally, that's the problem is when I'm on the road, I don't have to be in front of a computer and I don't have to be doing something else.
Yeah.
So
no, it's brutal.
It's
like you need to
not
retire.
Meant personally. It's just I know.
No, I know it's not.
I want to retire.
I need you to retire,
but I need the money.
I need my mic time.
I need a different president so I can make more money. All right, let's get on with some Scotty so that way we can get to our guests. So here's a little Scotty in our lives.
Yeah, the times and places they may change, but one thing stays the same. The stories that they tell about going through hell. If you think they wouldn't do it all over again, well, you just don't know them. The memories that they own of the ones who didn't make it home, yeah, sure do miss them, but they keep them all living in the stories that they tell.
And what's cool is we're gonna get some stories right now. So, all right, buddy.
All right. So you know the way that this fascinating show we have, one leads into another. You know, we had Matt Pulido on a couple different times. Love
the whole Pulido clan.
The Pulido clan is marvelous, beautiful people.
They are.
And it's not because of
our connection,
right? Oh yeah, no, that was great.
Different connections to Coach Pulido,
baseball coach. I mean, you know, it
dealt with him with wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. So you know, we started talking, and Matt's like, "Hey, I got this guy.
Yo,
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So he's like, I got this guy. He's like, here's his number. I already talked to him. Boom. I'm like, okay. I text Steve. Hey, Steven. We'll figure it out.
Steve.
Okay. So text him.
That's the way he wrote his name on there.
Well, I know, but oh yeah. Okay. We can go see.
We could do his government name.
Yeah. No. I just want to make sure his mama knows who he is. Right.
All right.
Okay. So this has been like a couple months planned. Right.
Right.
And then you know how it is whenever someone doesn't know us, they're like, oh, well, what are you guys about? What are you guys doing? And the good thing is like he shared in pre-interview is like, hey, I watched the show with Matt. I'm like, okay, done. Like that was probably one of the best episodes that we had, right? And it was interesting. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you.
Get your makeup on. Get your makeup on. Look pretty.
Man from the United States Marine Corps, Steven Stewart.
What's up, Steve? What's up?
Welcome
happening to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
And of course, as we started when we first talked to you, okay, if you're not into military or anything, that's your problem.
First of all, why are you watching our show?
Yeah, why are you watching our show? You're watching the wrong day. No, but and if you're in the military, everybody in the military knows there's one uniform that stands above them all. And I don't care. I'll go toe to toe with all of you. And I'm not a veteran. Eric's not a veteran, but I will go toe to toe with any of you to say there is no better uniform than the one right behind Steve right now. That dress blue Marine Corps uniform. It's different. It hits different. It just looks different. Hey, you got a sword, Steve? Do you have one of those swords?
I don't have an NCO sword at the moment.
Damn. See, he told you what it was called too. So write that down.
I know. All right, NCO sword.
Got one of them swords. I'll tell you what.
Devil dog.
I will guarantee you that uniform persuaded hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people to join. Well, just because of that uniform, Mike.
I don't understand those commercials in probably the 90s. Right. And you probably saw when you were a kid, right? The Marine walking through the fire and with the NCO sword and, the armor. And dude, those were the best. I mean, the Marine Corps probably had the best marketing at that time. Now, none of them have good marketing really, but at that time it was pretty cool. It was Space Force in their baggy pants. that's pretty funny. Joey, Marines got the coolest dress uniforms. I always laugh when a woman tells me I look cute in my bullshit Air Force service dress.
You look cute. Well, yeah, he's so cute. He's got that.
Look at Tonto, mainly Latin men. This is the way this show gets started. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you.
sorry, I had to bring that up because the minute we saw it, man, it just gives me chills because all the pictures. I mean, I see my dad and his, he did basic in 1968, and seeing the black and white of him and the pictures I've seen of him, it's yes, but they're PT shorts.
Oh, I love our little silky shorts.
Silkies. Hey, and I have an email out to them too. I'm trying to get them. They got some ruck marches in the silkies.
In the silkies.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve gonna bring up a picture in silkies?
No.
Anyways,
that's great.
All right. Well, again, welcome to the show. We appreciate your time and of course, saying up front your service. So we've already we know you were you were in the Marine Corps, right?
Yep.
So for everybody, because we got to get to know you, where'd you end up growing up?
So from the time I was like 1 and up, I was technically born in New York.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather was a police captain in Suffolk County, New York. He retired like the year I was born and moved the whole family down to Tennessee for his retirement. And
he's like, I am out.
Get the hell out of New York.
I'm out.
Well, yeah, you got to take that, that New York pension down to Tennessee. And
you don't want to pay taxes on it.
You just tripled it. You just tripled it.
That's like California. Half of California has moved to Tennessee. So
yeah. Well, it's happening in Arizona where I'm at now too. So they're flooding in. But
okay. You already, Joey, killing me already. How many tattoos do you have that say Marines, U.S. Marine Corps, or Grunt? I know he's got the globe anchor.
I got my double dog right there. Semper Fi.
There you
and
go.
I got my EGA right there. That's it. I got two.
Okay, what'd you call it? The EGA?
Eagle, Globe, and Anchor.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and hey,
Mike is learning
Joey,
all kinds of stuff
I'm excited. This is gonna be one of my. Hey, Joey, I even have an EGA on my cap, and I'm not a Marine. I mean, it's for my dad. See, so I got some Marine Corps.
That's funny because there's when I went to boot camp, there was like you always get the really motivated recruits that get their moto tat ahead of time. And before they even get there, and when your drill instructors see your EGA tat on your thigh or whatever it is, right? Like they lose their crap. Like you're done at that point. Yeah. Like they're like, what the heck do you think you're doing? You haven't deserved that crap. And so and they make our sweatpants and our PT shirt outfits have EGAs on their chest and on the thigh. They make us turn them inside out. We have to wear them inside out until we get our Eagle and Anchor actually officially handed to us.
Wow.
Easy target and basic.
Hi, Gary.
What's up, Gary? So here's a fellow Marine right here, Gary Miller, our one of our sponsors. So he's a fellow Marine. All right. Sorry about that, Steve. That Joey got me going with that. That was pretty funny. Just because we had already seen, the EGA. Now I can say that. So all right. So you grew up in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I grew up there until about so I was high school aged, and I ended up in Arizona in the Phoenix area, and finished out high school, and I went to the Marine Corps from there, and that's currently where I'm back now after post Marine Corps.
Back in the Arizona area.
Yep.
All right. So finish up high school. Do you end up joining the Marines straight out of high school? And then why did you choose the Marines?
So I still remember when 9/11 happened. I was actually a freshman in high school in gym class early in the morning when they were playing it on the news. And, we had the old school, like tiny little tube TV up in the corner in PE, and we were getting ready to go like run our mile or whatever it was that morning, and it came on the news, and everyone was in shock and awe. And we used to have the recruiters come to campus like they still do today, and I just remember the day that happened. Like I said, I definitely don't care for New York much. Mm-hmm. my New York, my mom, my dad, everybody, like I'm like, I hate that New York attitude, unless like I always talk like that, and they all hate it because they all grew up their whole lives in New York. But So I never knew too much about New York because I wasn't interested. But the day it happened, I definitely took a good, long, hard look because that was the first big thing in my life.
Right.
Where I was like, holy crap, what the heck happened here? And it was funny. We had a recruiter come on campus, like, I don't know, within the weeks following. And they gave it was a Marine Corps recruiter, came in I think it was in my world history class or something. And they gave the whole spiel about, how motivating it was to be a Marine. The Marine's the best branch and we do the best things and we're the first in and we're the, all this stuff. And it was like right after 9/11. Right. And I remember just feeling pissed off that I grew up in this country, especially how I grew up in Tennessee. And life was simple and all this stuff, right? I never heard anything about this in my life. And then that was the first big thing in my life. And I just was pissed off. And I was like, I want to go get me some. And this guy was in my class and preaching the Marine Corps. And I was only, like I said, I was only a freshman at the time.
Right.
I went and talked to him and I was like, hey, like, I want to get in the Marine Corps.
Can I go now?
Yeah, I want to go right now. I want to do this. And he's like, obviously, he took my, every recruiter out there, they're desperate for contact info. They always want people to join. And so I kind of just established a little relationship with him over the next couple of years. And I actually officially joined like a year out before I graduated high school because there's a delayed entry program.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually, that's what I was asking you about earlier.
About my son.
Yeah, you can join and sign the contract. And then you basically and part of the delayed entry program, you just kind of meet up once a week and do your little workouts and they prepare you for boot camp basically. But anyway, I was like, I knew a couple, I was a couple years behind the curve, but I went right in as graduate high school, went right in. Yeah, I was already signed up to go. And it was funny. I was, my mom flipped when I did it. And I did really well on the ASVAB test, which is what they make you do when you sign up.
Well, yeah, considering we'll hear what you end up doing, you must have.
Well, I did well, and I was like, no, like I'm signing up to, I want to be an infantry guy. I want to be a grunt. I want to go and get me some. And
right,
dude, you did really well. Like we can get any Joe Schmo off the street to go infantry in the Marine Corps. Like, why don't you do something like Intel or whatever? And I was like, no, I'm not signing the contract unless you put it in there that I'm, going to be a grunt or whatever. And so I made them force that in there. They really didn't want to because the recruiters have a hard time getting people to sign up in the first place. But that's the way I ended up going. And I don't regret it at all. That's what I wanted to do. And I came out of the Marine Corps with zero, I say, work worthy skills post Marine Corps. But it's something I would never take back. I ended up doing 8 years and getting out, and it was definitely worth my time. I know I did 8 years. And I didn't gain a skill that I could have been employed with or anything, and had no like education, but it's what I wanted to do. So
wow. So you didn't do school while you were in there?
No, I didn't have time.
No.
And they allow like tuitions assistants and stuff like that
right.
to take college classes while you're in.
Right.
Anybody today could probably do it because we're not really active in any country right now. And but when I was
for how long?
Yeah, exactly. But while I was in, it was like it was just it was a spoken rule. It said if you were in any of the infantry units like I was, they were like they wouldn't even let you sign up. They said no, you're not doing it because you have to. Basically, your management has to sign off that you're going to have time to take all the classes and take the exams and all that stuff. And we were deploying nonstop back then and all that. So I never got to do any schooling when I was in.
Yeah, because that's what I was like. Because I know Gary got a lot of education. I guess he used the learning annex or something. I don't know, or that's what he's commenting. We're all learning. We are learning every show. So where did you, since you were in Arizona, did you go to MCRD San Diego?
Yes, I did.
How was that?
It was good. I mean, I don't have Marines like to fight over which one's the best, East Coast, West Coast. I never got too involved in that. It's like if you're west of the Mississippi, you go to the West Coast. If you're east, you go, you go to San Diego, or you go to
what? New York, New Jersey, New York,
North Carolina.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. And I don't really care. I did my time at MCRD, and it's funny. I went to MCRD San Diego. I got stationed in my first duty station was in 29 Palms. Well, actually, after boot camp, I go to being a grunt. I went to School of Infantry, which was in Camp Pendleton, and then post Camp Pendleton, which is just north of San Diego, and my first duty station was in 29 Palms.
And that's a pure joy.
Yeah, so I did my first 4 years there, and then I re-enlisted while I was in Iraq, and I ended up going back to Camp Pendleton for my last 4 years.
Oh, well, at least you went from the middle of the desert to the coast, right? That's nice.
Yeah.
Hey, that was the cool thing. We were in Disneyland last year, and the Camp Pendleton, the Marine Corps band plays like when they do the flag. They came and played for the flag takedown. Yeah, I guess it's only done once in a while, so it was kind of cool. We were there, and the Marine Corps band from Camp Pendleton came and played. So that was pretty dope. That was pretty dope. Look at their shadow mark, 29 Palms. Oh yes, it is probably the most exotic base there is.
Yeah,
I know everybody's always. My dad, I just that was the one thing he didn't share many stories. He definitely didn't share stories of. Oh god, dude, Joey's on fire right now. Yeah, were you at Camp Lejeune? He's a little too young, Joey. He's a little too young for that lawsuit.
Yeah, I've seen that going around for sure.
Hey, my dad, I actually went through all my dad's paperwork. He was at Camp Lejeune. The problem is there's so much fraud with that whole thing with that case. Trying to find somebody legitimate, and even if we have anything, I mean, who knows? Yeah. But my dad was already getting everything anyway. So I know you said you went to Iraq. So how many times did you go out of country?
Twice.
And how long?
7 months for
each time. Okay. Yeah. And I know you said Iraq one time. Was it Iraq both?
Iraq again, yeah.
Different stations or same place?
So I deployed. My first deployment was like 6 months or so after I got to my first duty station. I went to Iraq. I was stationed at Camp Fallujah in 2006. And my job, like that deployment, was basically MSR security. So MSR was the main supply route.
Okay.
Between that's what we called their highway that goes from like Ramadi to Fallujah to Baghdad.
Right.
And so that was like my job. The whole first deployment was security all along that highway and all the surrounding villages and stuff. Pretty big area, of operation. And so that was what I did my whole first deployment. And then I went back my second deployment. And that was in end of 07 through 08. And the mission was a little different on my second deployment. My first deployment, there were two completely different deployments. My first deployment was still early enough in the war where, we were pushing through areas and kicking down doors and stuff. And my second deployment was more, hey, we're going village to village. We had interpreters with us. We were talking to sheikhs of villages and basically, hey, what do you need? We're trying to rebuild. Like we're trying to get our relations back. And so that it was a lot different deployment. But what I got kind of stuck doing, my detail was basically we were clearing grid squares all over like the entire country of Iraq. We were looking for weapons caches and any sort of illegally owned weapons or anything like that. So we were I covered most of that country. My second deployment,
your first deployment, you're in all the big city, like you're literally running all the big city. I mean, that's everything we would hear about, right?
We're Ramadi, Fallujah, Baghdad,
and Ramadi.
Those are the three big ones. My second deployment, I did everything from Baghdad, Fallujah, Ramadi, Haditha, Mosul, Iraq, which was way up northern Iraq, which was they were known. That's where most of the Christians in Iraq were actually living, and
so they were probably persecuted.
They were, and that was a pretty cool story for my second deployment. We got to have a helping hand, like helping out some of those Christian villages and freeing some of them up.
Did you come across any hyenas?
Hyenas? No, I didn't.
That's a salute outside the wire troops.
I was going to say my first deployment, which was definitely by far the crazier deployment as far as like action, right? And but I got to go inside of Camp Fallujah every night, where you basically, without with the exception of some random indirect fire mortars coming in and landing every once in a while. It was for the most part pretty safe, you know.
Right.
So it's funny. My crazy deployment, I was called my crazy deployment. I got to sleep inside like a little trailer that had a little air conditioner on it.
So you were glamping.
Glamping
yeah,
is cool, man.
And then my second deployment, when it wasn't as crazy, we were clearing grid squares all over the country, and we like went from one town, we cleared grid squares, and we would just we called it coiling up at night. It was just a squad, you know, so 16 Marines, 4 trucks, 4 Humvees, and we would drive outside of the city, and we would just camp out in the desert at night, and we would have, you know, fire watch shifts to make sure no one's coming up on us in the middle of the night. But we just slept in like a bivvy sack next to our Humvee in the sand.
So you went from glamping to actually having to camp, man. You had to struggle.
My whole second deployment, I slept in the dirt every night, and I lived off of nothing but MREs the whole deployment.
Sand in places you could never get it out from. Huh?
Yeah.
So Joey's asking if you were there when they hung Saddam.
I see that. Yeah, I wasn't. That happened. I think a year or two before my first deployment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. Like he was in Kirkuk in, it looks like 2011, and he's Air Force. Joey was Air Force. So it's been cool because we've had a lot of guests, you know, whatever branch, you know, name the branch, and they've all been, somebody's been in Iraq, somebody's been in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Last week, it was kind of cool. That was one of the stories, is he was in basic during 9/11. Like he was, so, you know, he's all, the base literally changed, right?
Yeah. So you signed up thinking one thing, and then you graduate boot camp, and you're like, "Oh crap!"
Hey, Tonto, did it snow in Iraq?
So like I know a lot of people ask, because like Afghanistan, people that go to Afghanistan, like it definitely snows there, and it gets really cold. Iraq, it gets pretty cold, but I personally never saw snow. But it does get cold in the winters, and it rains a ton. So I was a gunner on the turret on my first deployment. So I remember.
That's sick. On the Humvee?
Out on the. Sorry?
On a Humvee or?
Yeah, on a Humvee. On a Humvee. Yeah, I remember driving in the winter deployment. Because I got there in October, and I stayed through like May, and it was, so I saw the whole winter, and I remember just driving out on the Humvee as the gunner, the only person sticking my whole body out of the truck, and it was like this rain, almost like, I don't know, it felt like 3 or 4 days a week, and it was like, so it got cold enough where it'd be sleeting on my face, and we had the balaclavas, you know, but those don't do anything, those little thin ones. So I had to get this like cold weather one that was like thick padding, and I pulled as close as I could over my eyes and wear eye pro, because I was getting beaten down by all the sleet, you know, out there. So it definitely gets cold. It does get cold in Iraq, cold enough, you know.
Right.
I never saw snow.
I was just driving probably 40 miles.
Yeah, driving for. Can I get some windshield wiper?
Stupid Mercedes.
Yeah, it was miserable.
Yeah, the Mercedes, the headlight windshield wipers. Yeah,
so stupid.
That was. I had a winter deployment and I had a summer deployment. You know, so
so which one was better?
I think if I had to go back, I'd still pick the winter deployment, because the summer,
dude.
I bet
I live in Arizona, and I know what the 120s feel like in Arizona, dry heat. In Iraq, depending on where you're at, it can get in the 130s, and it's more humid than it is, especially if you're near like the Tigris or the Euphrates, through, you know, all through Ramadi, Fallujah, like there's a lot of water in that area. It gets pretty humid, and it's 130 and humid, so it's a lot worse. It sucks.
And then just random sandstorms, and because that's what I've heard from some of the guys. Black Hawk down.
Yeah.
Black Hawk down.
Yeah. I got pictures of some of the haboobs that are so bad, like you can't see your hand out in front of your face taking a picture. You just put your goggles on and just wait for it to pass, and they're bad over there.
That's what we were talking about last week. They had a tent, but you would sleep and it would just filter.
It would just still blow. You just get all the particles. Yeah. Well, that's what to the couple of Cody's friends that went to Iraq and Afghanistan, they just said, it's like going to the beach, and it's a trip that never ends. Yeah. Because the sand never goes away.
It doesn't. And like I said, that deployment I spent the whole deployment in the dirt, sleeping at night. That was my summer deployment, so it was hot as heck. And at night, I would no sleeping bag, just a bivy sack, which is like your water resistant shell that goes over your sleeping bag.
Right.
I would lay in that on the dirt, and the sand just blowing all night. I would zip it around my head. Like, you had to make a decision. Do I want to keep my face out to like stay as cool as I can, even though it's hot as heck out, or do I want to zip shut and just like basically you feel like you're in a sauna, but it keeps most of that sand off your face. Yeah, so that's what I dealt with.
His security speaking up now.
I like it.
His security speaking up.
Yeah, that's my little belt, my mouth.
Oh man, we're gonna have to talk about that.
We're gonna get into that.
We're gonna come back to that.
We don't want to shorten your time on your military service. So we do have some of those questions up.
I'm sure I still got sand in my Pelican case from 12 and 13.
I would bet you do.
Yeah. My only time not in AC in Iraq was when we got to smoke cigars in the smoke tent. Again, coming from the Air Force. Let me give you background.
Because that's
yeah, my only time not in AC. Yeah. See, that's
I could tell just by the way they talk, because my neighbor's Air Force, and he was talking about one of his deployments he was on in Australia, and his,
I bet that was really rough.
Wow.
He talks about how they went from the where they landed to like their 4-star hotel in their convoy, and they saw all the I guess like army or whatever it was in tents along the road, sleeping in tents, and they just went and stayed in their 4-star hotels with their AC and everything. I was like, wow, that's how they like to rub it in. And I was like,
well, that's where I was trying to steer my son. I mean, we love the Marines, but I was like, dude, you could go to the Air Force and have catered meals. You don't have to work, all that kind of stuff. So
I'm the same way too.
Well, you were a Marine, you lived it.
Yeah, when I joined, there was definitely a huge conflict going on. So there was a reason enough to pick Marine Corps. But I tell my boys, even my boys are high school age, and I tell them if they even thought about it, I'm like, yeah, with the way things are right now today, I don't see the point in saying that you were in the Marine Corps. You could go get a technical skill and get spoiled and get some education in the Navy or Air Force or something,
I'm not saying that your kids are like that, but I think I know.
The
comments are off the hook, and I'm trying to stay focused here because you know how I am. I'm very limited on my questions.
He went to MREs. I know, but it's funny because it goes along with the story, and he's on fire.
He said, trying to give him MREs, and they just went to Applebee's.
It's a little funny.
See, that's what sucks. I lost my train of thought. Anyways.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Forget it.
Well, we'll keep going. You come back to it.
Oh no.
So
I'm not.
So I know you said you did 8 years, right? What made you decide that it was finally time? I mean, you did 8. Why couldn't you get to 20? I mean, I know it's 12 more years.
Yeah, no. I actually 100% agree with you. I had already re-enlisted again, so I was I owed 12 years to the military, and obviously at that point I was planning on going career.
Right.
But around my 7-year mark, because of some injuries I got overseas in Iraq and everything that was kind of to jump into it, I guess I got injured my first deployment pretty bad. I came back and I kind of just sucked it up. I was like 19, 20 at the time, and I just kind of bucked it up and never really worried too much about it. And I pushed through. Like, when you're 19, you can get hit by a truck and like walk home.
And I mean, here's the realism: the people around you, especially your leadership, is like, yeah, you better figure it. If I can throw some dirt on it, and you're good.
Is there a bone?
Exactly.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So yeah, I got hurt enough to where I went and did my second deployment, and I actually raised my hand and re-enlisted in the desert of Iraq. And it was actually pretty funny. I told you my second deployment, we were just living in the desert,
right?
Grid square to grid square. They actually flew a career planner and the JAG officer out in a helo to where we were at in the middle of the desert in Iraq to swear us in and re-enlist.
Wow.
Dang.
Pretty cool. And the other part too is, if any dollar you made in Iraq was tax free, you're in a combat zone, so it's all tax free. And so I got a reenlistment bonus because back then, they couldn't keep grunts in the Marine Corps or anywhere, because there was an active war going on and people were, people don't actively join as much to be a grunt when there's an active war. So they were giving out some pretty fat reenlistment bonuses. And so I got a pretty fat reenlistment bonus tax-free. And
nice.
I had my first son 2 months before I went on my second deployment. And so I came back and he was already walking and talking.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. So that was, I didn't want that to, yeah. So I wanted to take a little bit of a break. And when I reenlisted, I got locked in my contract that I was going to do. You can choose to go do what they call a B-billet, when you reenlist. And so usually that means like recruiting or drill instructor.
Oh.
And in my case, I took third option. A lot of people don't realize is I went to go on the range for MCRD.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
I ended up being a primary marksmanship instructor. Wore the big campaign cover like the drill instructors do.
Yeah.
I did that for my last enlistment, and so I was able to I was in physical therapy, recovering from some of my injuries, and trying to make it happen. Re-enlisted again, and then they ended up putting a stop on it because I started having such bad issues coming from my injuries. I started having arthritis coming in and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And they put me on a medical board, and basically where a panel of doctors gets to choose if you get to stay in or not. And I fought that for 9 months because at the time all I knew was the Marine Corps, and that's what I wanted to do. And 9 months later, they came back and they said, "Yep, we're deeming you non-deployable. You're not allowed to deploy again. And in the Marine Corps, if you can't deploy, you're done." So they ended up forcing me out medically, and I was pretty pissed off at the time. But looking back, it was probably one of the best things that happened to me. So
right now, I do want to go back because I know there's something else you wanted to ask about a belt color or something.
Yeah, well, when obviously we got a little details from Matt, and when you were in some hand-to-hand combat, you got to be an instructor. Like, did you run the program for him?
Yeah, well, yeah. So any of the Marines that are on here, they know what MCMAP is. It's the Marine Corps Martial Arts Program. Pretty much any Marine going through boot camp gets their tan belt during boot camp, and I think and then it goes. And then you can get a gray belt, green belt, brown belt, black belt, and then you start getting all your tabs and all that. So it's a lot. And so my second deployment, or my second enlistment, when I was in back at Pendleton teaching marksmanship, they sent me to the MCMAP instructor school, and so I ended up. People laugh about the MCMAP program, but I'll tell you what, when I went to the instructor school for MCMAP. This is coming from a grunt that was in Iraq for 2 deployments, and I went through all my infantry training and all my specialized infantry training schools and all that. The hardest thing I did in the Marine Corps was my MCMAP instructor school. Literally the hardest thing I ever did in the Marine Corps.
Really?
Yeah, we started with I think it was 25 guys, and we graduated 7.
Dang.
So it was it was hardest thing I ever did in the Marine Corps. I tell people that all the time, like, because you wouldn't think so, but the instructor school is tough. Most people drop out due to injuries, and they just have us beat on each other for I forget what it is. It's like 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. But it's rough.
So even the 7 guys that make it out are just hobbling.
Yeah,
just like
I did. I got out with a sprained ankle. Luckily, that was my worst injury, and I got my little instructor tab, and so I was up at the brown belt level instructor, and So my last couple of years in the Marine Corps, I was doing a little bit of instructing MCMAP as well.
So you were all right to do all that, even being, I mean, you were obviously hurt too.
Well,
and you got
so like I said, I did that school about 2 years before I got out, and it was rough. And I just it was after that they made body hardening. You're right. I teach my kids that, we always body hardening. I'm like, you can actually make your body harder.
It's called calluses.
Slapping bones together, and so I was barely okay to do that. The highest belt color is black, but they do I don't even remember honestly, but they do black belt with a red stripe, and then you can get like up to, I think you can get up to like 4 stripes on your black belt, maybe 4 or 5, something like that. But yeah, I taught up to the brown belt level, and I did that up until they threw me on the med board and said, we're looking at you for your injuries you got and some of your arthritis, and even hearing loss was one of the things they were coming after me for. And I had pretty severe hearing loss. And
well, I'm sure being next to that 50 cal.
Yeah, that can't help.
Yeah,
there's probably an earplug too. Before he gets on there, they did have the 3M earplug lawsuit going on.
I did, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was rocking those 3M earplugs.
So I wanted, dang, now I just lost my train of thought, man. That sucks. Because I wanted to ask around like with your medical piece, was it due to you starting to show the signs, or was it a physical that you had that they all of a sudden said?
It was basically a physical, yeah.
Okay. And they said, whoa.
Yeah, I was having some weird pains and groans and all this stuff, and I went. So it's funny. Like, I actually went for some reasons that are a little out there, but I was like passing blood and stuff when I was. I was. So it's pretty. I got some pretty big workups done, and they thought I was having some issues due to like a burn pit exposure in Iraq.
There's the burn pit. There's the burn pit.
Yeah, so they ended up doing some pretty deep down like physicals and stuff, and all, like, giving me a full check over, because I never really got like a crazy full check over after my deployments. And a lot of the back pain that I was just being a hard charger and pushing through over the years and all that stuff, they finally were like, yeah, I broke my back. They said, you got arthritis like growing like crazy in your lower back. I had crushed discs in my middle upper back, and I had just all kinds of issues going on, chronic sprains in my ankles.
Damn.
And so they were finally like, hey, we're throwing you on it.
So Joey actually, he may work for the VA. So he kind of knows that side of it as well. So
I got hooked up on that part.
Yeah. Well, if you're obviously med boarded, then they already know they're the ones putting you out. So now they definitely got to pay you percentage. And then Tonto hit the VA with the old Austin 316. What? that's funny.
Right after it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. I got, I actually got medically retired. Mine was bad enough that they made it a full medical retirement. You can be medically retired with benefits or without benefits. So if you get medically retired with benefits, if you get medically retired with benefits, it's basically like a military pension and healthcare and all that stuff, right? Like almost as if you would have done a retirement. Without benefits, which is what they deemed me. They can do it one of two ways. You don't get the healthcare benefits. And so I don't get any of that. And then they gave me a severance package.
Yeah, I'm like, why? But why wouldn't you get? I mean, don't you? So is there a different level of benefits or something?
Yeah, well, like I said, if depending on how severe your like leading cause on your paperwork is, that the reason you're getting out, if it's bad, if it's like a certain percentage, they'll give you. Like I said, you'll get your military pension and health care for your family and everything, right? Like just like if you did it. But in my case, my percentage they gave me at the time wasn't high enough. And so they medically retired me without benefits. And they basically they gave me a severance package on the way out. So they threw me like, I forget what it was at the time, but it was probably like $27,000 or something like that. They gave me a severance package.
Nothing.
And then they literally came back with an answer. I was still, remember I told you I was fighting it. I was hoping to still stay in.
Right.
Because I'd already re-enlisted. I was already supposed to go out another 4 years.
Right.
And they came back and they said, you're out in 2 weeks. Here's your severance package. Yeah. Here's your severance package. And then they do get you set up with like all the appointments and all the stuff to get everything that you get disability ratings for. I had all that ready to go when I got out. So
wow. Well,
but yeah, it did suck. That was rough.
They're recouping your severance pay. There's my security.
Yeah. So all I know about the severance pay, to answer that question, is if your severance, if you get a severance package on the way out, you have to pay it back based on the percentage of your main item on your medical discharge. So if your main item, whatever that was at the top of your discharge, was like 10% or 20% disability, right, you have to pay that severance back. At that 20% comes out of your monthly check to go pay that severance back until it's paid back full. I actually got really lucky because the main reason I got put on the medical board was for my back, my broken back, and all that arthritis and all that stuff.
Right.
Which was rated pretty high. But when they did the whole med board process, they made my main issue, the hearing loss. They broke that down as the number one at the top of the list.
What the heck?
And the military doesn't rate very high at all for hearing loss unless you're like completely deaf. And so I got rated I'm service connected for hearing loss, but I'm 0%, which means it's actually lucked out because I am required to pay my severance back at 0% per month. So I've never paid anything back towards my severance.
Oh,
that's how it worked. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But that's still, I'm still like, I'm
but
still
it's the
like
health benefit, right?
Yeah. They still get you still get your VA benefits, right? I mean,
I'm still fully covered through the VA.
Right.
And, yeah. And connected for hearing loss. That's tough, but they usually most vets I know get it for like tinnitus or something. But I definitely had some pretty severe hearing loss and they still gave me 0%, but at least I'm connected.
Crazy.
Wow.
I have my hearing aids right here, but I never wear them.
You just a lot of what? A lot of that cold what?
That's what I prefer because
plus you don't have to hear some of the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get you. Tinnitus. Most people get 10% for tinnitus too.
Yep.
Wow. See, my dad was he had Agent Orange. He had lung issues. So he ended up being over 100% by the time we were done.
Oh, wow.
I don't even think
he was actually like 130, it was like 120, 130%. I just know he was getting, but it took until he was in his 60s for us, and it took him getting sick before he got anything. So we didn't get it any earlier or anything. So I'm hoping, with yours, you get everything taken care of.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, Mr. Steiner, that is a sit rep 22 hat from a fellow Marine. So Eric will get his stuff someday.
I don't even want to talk about
everybody that ordered will. All right, so let's go. The med boarded, right? So that's all a surprise. So what happens when you get out? Because now you're like, okay, plans, shit,
right?
I was planning on doing this longer. Now what do I do with myself?
That was a huge issue when I first got out. I was sitting here literally going, I kind of brainstormed with my wife, like, wow, we have, we're married. I owned a house in California. We bought our first house out there, and we had 2 kids. And so I was stationed at Camp Pendleton. I bought a house in Menifee, California, which is just north of Temecula a little ways.
Right.
And so we bought that. We were both in for the long term, and we had 2 little kids. They're only a year and a half apart. And we were like, what the hell do we do? Luckily, I had some good coaching from a friend of mine that knew how the med board process worked.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, dude, I know you're fighting it. I know you're trying to stay in. I know you already got orders to stay in, but worst case scenario, it's going to happen like the way it happened. They told me worst case scenario, they're going to come back and be like 2 weeks or something like that. So they were like, dude, if you know what's best for you, you're just going to go ahead and sell your house and like stay somewhere temporary for now until you find out the answer. Right. So it was in my mind, I was like, do I either sell it and then I end up staying in? What the hell do I do? But anyway, I sold it just to be careful. And I actually sent my wife back to live with her parents with my 2 kids for like the last 4 months of my med board, just because we didn't know what was going to happen. And sure enough, they came back and they said, you're out. So I was like, well, thank God I sold it. And I called her that day and was like, go find a house right now because I'm not going to have proof of income in like 2 weeks.
Right.
I was like, go find a house. We got to buy a house in Arizona. So she went and found one. I bought a house, never seen it. I never saw it before I bought it or anything.
Did you go straight to surprise whenever you guys bought?
Was
you
it
guys
what?
Went to Arizona?
Yeah.
Did you go straight?
Surprise, Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it in surprise. And so we bought that, and I got my severance package. I moved home. And here I am sitting I had some debt, from the Marine Corps, but I mean, not much, but I'm sitting here with a house, a mortgage, my wife and kids, no job, no degree, no education, no skills. Wow. And $27,000 was my severance package. And I was sitting here going,
how do I do this? Yeah.
And in 2012, you remember this is after the big crash and like the houses, people were squatting in houses and ripping everything out of the houses. And the only house I could afford was one that was completely, the guy that got foreclosed on ripped everything out of the house, like all the doors, and the all the appliances, the cabinets, the ceiling fans, the door handles, everything you could possibly imagine, water heater.
That's what was happening.
Yeah. So I spent my whole first summer just using my severance to fix up my house so it was livable. We literally me, the wife and kids slept in one bed in our living room on a concrete floor because we ripped all the carpet out. And lived in one room, and we fixed up one room at a time and went around the house, and eventually all got into our rooms. And then I started getting done with the house. Like we got to a point where it was pretty livable. And I was sitting here going, well, shit, I have no severance left. I have no money. I got no skill. I got no degree. I got nothing. I was like, what do I do? I literally didn't even think that far ahead because it happened so fast. Right.
Yeah.
And, I was like, well, everyone talks about this GI Bill you get from the military, right? Like, I don't want to let that go to waste. That's a pretty good opportunity. So I drove to the local community college down the street one day. I told my wife too, I was like, hey, I'm just going to ask some questions, how the GI Bill thing works. I went in, they told me like, hey, we have people free. You can take the little placement test right now. And like, we'll figure out how it works. And long story short, I walked out fully enrolled in college that day. And I came back to my wife and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to college full time and going to try and live off the GI Bill. So I got through the first 2 years of that, taking out student loans and going to school on the GI Bill. That's how I've made it for 2 years. And then I got lucky and landed an internship, an engineering internship that paid pretty well actually for an intern for my the next summer. And then I was going through college still. And then I landed one at where I work currently now for my last 2 years of college. I landed a summer internship at a nuclear power plant. We're actually the largest power plant in the country.
Damn.
And they let me stay on year round. So I was like going to school full time, like 2 or 3 days a week. And then I'd work there my other 2 or 3 days a week.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. I did that for 2 years. And
so you were getting the GI Bill, which was paying for school, and then getting student loans to pay for your life.
Yep. Yeah.
Damn.
Exactly.
He worked at a power plant.
He was going to be an engineer. That's what he was working to. So
work smarter.
So I eventually got my electrical engineering degree with an emphasis in power, and took me 5 years. And it full time with a wife and 2 kids at home, going to school themselves. They were school aged already at this point, and
with everything else that's going around on them and in them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Look at, I'm a hustler, baby.
It worked out. And I ended up rolling, like basically, I had an interview and all that stuff, but I basically rolled right into a full-time position at the power plant.
Dang.
And I've been there ever since. I graduated in 2017. So I've been there ever since. So
Post 9/11 OJT is the best thing ever. Just work the regular job and get paid for it extra.
Oh, I've heard the OJT stuff. That's pretty good too, depending on what you want to do. But post 9/11 GI, I joined before they had the post 9/11 GI Bill going, so I was still able to go on the old. They called it the Montgomery GI Bill, and we actually had to pay I think it was $100 a month for the first year you were in, $1,200, and then you got your Montgomery GI Bill benefits, or you could transition to the post 9/11 GI Bill, which is what I did because that's what they had when I got out. And it is good. They pay for your college and they pay you whatever their rated housing allowance is for your area where you're going to school. So
okay, so that helped. And then I mean, obviously,
it's not
so
enough,
you didn't
but,
you didn't have to, obviously you didn't have to work until you ended up going through the internships and all that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it was rough. I had to take student loans because
right.
If you get out and you're single and you're like renting a room or something, you could probably get by on the GI Bill. But I owned a house and had a wife and 2 kids, and they were going to school themselves and all that. Doesn't work. I've tried to keep her at home as much as I could. We're pretty old school. We have a pretty old school relationship. She's a stay-at-home mom, has since day one, and she still is.
It's the best thing.
And I love it. And I grew up, my parents were divorced. My mom had full custody. She was working like 2 jobs and going to night school. And so when we got married, that was part of our deal. I was like, yeah, I never had a parent like at home all the time. I was making my own dinners, cleaning the house. And I was like, I want you at home. And she was all on board for it. So
tough times make tough people. That's that little quote that goes floating around, right?
Well, that's the evolution is.
But I think, I want to progress a little bit now. So you obviously get the house put together. You got things going on. So what's the next step? What's the next process you guys went through?
After getting the house together and everything?
Yeah. Got all the house put together.
So yeah, that was like my summer out. And that was a tough time in my life. I went from being gone for 7 months. I literally, my wife was 18 years old when I married her.
Oh.
And we were like high school sweethearts. So I knew her for years. And
blue line.
Yeah, so she was young as hell. We put that together. We had a rough time, like I said. So we had a baby right away.
Right.
I deployed. I left her alone for 7 months with a newborn baby at 19 years old.
Yeah.
And come home, and I helped her out for about 11 months. I was back after that deployment, and then I went back for another 7 months, and got her pregnant again, and so it was just a lot of time away. And then when I was in recruit training, I was an instructor in recruit training, and I had to work 6 days a week. I was working 16, 17 hours a day. And so I was just never around.
Never.
So, we had a rough marriage. The baseline was was rough,
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
but it's all you knew too. I mean, being 18, you don't know much else. I mean, obviously you went through the divorce. I don't know what her family life was about. So it's even though it's rough, it was what you guys knew.
Together. Yeah, her parents were together her whole life, but her mom had her when she was 45 years old. Her parents were the same age as my grandparents. So
okay.
Her mom's 80 right now, and she's only 34 years old. So
wow.
Yeah. So she lived a different life than I did. And she was I met her in Scottsdale, Arizona. She's I don't know if you know about Scottsdale, Arizona, but it's like the ritzy part of town. And it's where,
Is that where the golf courses all are?
Everything's expensive down there, and it's all prissy, and you got to have money to be down there.
That's a shot right there. That is a shot.
Yeah, I call it Snobdale. It was like this, Snobdale.
Hey, I just got a text and said, dude, we got to get her on. Mentally tough. That was from Matt.
Yeah.
We're 18 years old.
Yeah, she went through everything.
That was awesome.
Yeah, she went through a lot.
Yep, spring training. Except for I know if this is Britain, you're talking about the Giants, and we don't know.
I didn't say nothing, man. I'm supporting my nuts right now. Okay, I'm supporting
uppity place, Snobbydale. No.
Snobbydale.
Yeah, you have. I was gonna ask. You have a. There you go. Yeah. Sweet. I was gonna ask. I'm like, dude, we're losing him. We're losing him. That light behind you is disappearing.
Do you see those antlers? Okay, that's what I want to get. Look, we got 2 more segments we need to get to.
Okay,
we still need to get to the dog training.
We got to talk about security.
Got to talk about security. Right. So I was told that the male dog that you have, there's a 100-pound dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
night, Joey.
I have some other little.
What's the 100-pound dog? So I know we obviously know you have Malinois because you just talked about the Malinois, which I'm surprised it's not doing like parkour off the walls and stuff.
Are you gonna bust my chops for saying the way I said it earlier?
No, I'm gonna let you.
It says Illinois right there, dude. That's a Malinois.
Malinois. It's a Malinois.
So it's on phonics.
Well, this is coming from I have 2 Rottweilers, so I know all
nice.
about and I was around some dog training in my younger days and a lot of Malinois, and I learned early that I'd never want one. I don't have they're great dogs. Like I have nothing against them. I'm just not the right person for them.
Well, I just gave Matt one that's half Mal.
I wish I could I wish I could show the picture. He's just Matt's looking so man. I'll send it to you. He's looking so beautiful with the dog right there. He's looking very sophisticated.
So you have the Malinois and then you have a German Shepherd.
But you have unique names for these dogs, right?
Oh yeah. So my male, he's we've had him the longest. He's like he's just over 100 pounds. He's mostly German Shepherd and Dutch Shepherd.
Oh,
and his name's Ruger. And then the mom we got like 3 years ago. She's the Mal, and she's her name's Remington. And then we actually kept
weird. I'm hearing a trend here.
We kept one of their daughters from the first litter. We actually bred them together. And from the first litter, we kept one of the daughters, and her name's Sig. So,
so you don't have an AR-50? You don't have an assault rifle that everybody could complain about? No, that's cool. Okay, so you have the German Shepherd's kind of a mix, right, with the Dutch Shepherd and then the Malinois, and then you bred them.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what's that puppy like?
She's awesome. I thought the mom was the craziest because that Mal, but
right.
So we got the Shepherd and Malinois mix, and the daughter. I have a 5.5 foot tall RV gate out by my driveway, and that's where I hang out all the time. Like my neighbor comes over, we'll have a couple beers, or we'll we're working on projects or whatever. If she senses someone out there, she bolts right over the RV gate. She jumps right up, clean over it. 5.5 feet tall.
Dude, that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, those dogs are freaking
these are the dogs you see like running up the tree, diving, grabbing, a toy, and like
they weren't like 30 feet high where the owner has to catch them because it's too dangerous for them to land, but they'll literally go up a wall and jump off.
So my little Boston Terrier is gonna be like shaking even more. Like he's got issues.
So I always laugh because we have one Roddy that's he's absolutely acts like a Roddy, does everything. He's once he goes for a walk, he's ready to lay down, right? Like a Malinois, you take him on a walk and they're like, what else are we doing? Let's go for a run. Let's go for and then we have our female is literally like a Malinois. She like my wife always makes fun of her because she'll be jumping around the couches, like just flying around the couches, jumping clear over them as a Rottweiler. We're like, you got to have some Malinois or something, but she's pure. So
I love it. You're right. It's definitely, you got to be hands-on with these dogs. And, but I was always like a one dog kind of guy. My wife kind of taught me to get into, and then we had to breed them, and then we had to keep one from the first litter. And we had a second.
Can we just take pictures? Do we really need to keep the whole dog? Can we just take some pictures, and
it's not the way it works, dude.
Like I said, I got her out of Snobsdale, Arizona, and
that's why.
And she has turned the other way. Like we have like 30 chickens. We got turkeys. We got 3 dogs now. Yeah, we had goats up until recently. Like we just, but she just stayed home. And every time she talks me into it, she's like, "Well, I'm at home. I'll take care of them. It's no problem." So I can say no, like.
And how old are your kids now?
15, and one will be 14 soon. So we got.
And I'm sure they're super helpful with the dogs, right?
They actually are. They do help.
I was gonna say, I bet it's a whole different
teenagers.
I
was the Marine dad, like.
Oh, there it is. All right.
I was gonna say, dude.
Yeah, from about 2 years old, I had them. They knew exactly what parade rest was, and when I was when I was talking to them in public and disciplining them, kids like to always touch their face and not look at you. When I was mad at them in public and they're like picking at, I'm like parade rest right now, and they're like staring me in the face.
I'm surprised the Child Protective Services were called, right? But that's how it's supposed to be. Like
that is so great. What's up, Everyday Saturday?
What is up?
That is so great, though. I mean, I know, like my dad probably he was straight up mean, but I think because of their reception back into the country from Vietnam, like he kind of stepped away from that, but he still had the a-hole was there and the discipline and the anger. But I didn't get parade rest, but I got a lot of other things. I got my ass beat, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
smoke checking.
Smoke.
So I had a lot of comments in my younger dad days. I don't have to go. I don't actually go too crazy anymore.
You don't. You've already set the base, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You've already set the foundation. So now you're just building the house and putting the walls and the roof and everything like that.
Yeah.
14,
they
15
know what
years
I'm capable of.
Yeah. I got a comment. They're also super smart too.
Oh yeah.
You got a whole.
I got Matt.
Comment.
Yeah,
we got the comments here. You got the side comments, and then we got security barking in the background.
Well, Matt said he was
my
going to
mail's
watch on
all
TV.
fired up today.
He didn't want to get on, but he's watching on TV, so he didn't want to comment. But he's
right.
I'm getting text away. Got the 3 dots. They're gray. They're graying.
And then we got Steve texting him on the side.
Yeah. No, that's great.
All right. So do you train the dogs too? Are they trained in any way?
I'm not the best trainer, but I will say they're trained enough to where and my kid, like I said, my kids are pretty locked on. They do help with the dogs, and they are responsible for the chickens, the turkeys, the goats, all that stuff. My female, the mom, is the best. She actually goes out. My kids take them out, and at night or in the mornings, and when they round them up, put them up or whatever,
right?
They call her out, and she actually rounds my chickens up, puts them all up in their pen. She'll chase the goats into their goat house, chase the turkey. She rounds them. She knows exactly what to do with all of them. So
that's awesome.
They're working dogs. We don't do a lot of working with them, but I mean they're not the best trained. Like I don't have very good commands to get them to do whatever, but they know when we're like, hey, come on, let's go put the chickens up. They go put the chickens up, and they go put the turkeys up, and we take. They got recall. They do. So you were pointing at my antlers earlier.
So we want to get into that too.
We go shed hunting up north a lot, so we go find deer and elk antlers, and we're up there last weekend.
I was going to say, isn't this is the time of year for it, right?
Yep, it is. They just barely started dropping. We got 5 antlers last weekend, but well, I mean, the big elk just started dropping, so like all the smaller elk still have their antlers attached, but we bring the dogs up, and they go shed hunt with us, and they go out in front of us, all 3 of them, and we let them run. We're out in the middle of the woods, like nobody.
They're probably happy as hell,
and they go help us find sheds and everything. We've been doing it for years with them, so they know shed hunting.
Right.
So, they're good, and their recall is pretty good. Like they'll come back. If they used to chase off jackrabbits, they take off and you never see them again. But now they stop if you yell at them, and so they're trained enough for my purposes.
Yeah. So that's they do what you need them to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm getting the detail here. He actually found a complete set 1 year apart from each other.
What?
I did.
Yeah. He said he found one, Matt. Hey,
okay.
I'm getting fed.
He's getting a whole side story over here. Like,
I'm not smart. I couldn't find nothing on you, so I owe Matt like $25.
Your social media is pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I figured Matt was feeding you stuff.
Yeah, just a little bit. No.
That's why your friend requested me on Facebook, because my Facebook's pretty locked down unless we're friends.
No, it's not pretty. It is damn locked down. It is like straight up. You have 2 pictures. I think it's the only 2 pictures that you have to have on Facebook. It's like only 2 pictures, which is nice pictures, by the way. But
I will say, I mean, before I had to get in the business, and even with my real estate, like my Facebook was, I mean, I had like 11 people, and that's all I cared about. I didn't want to do nothing.
Me too.
And I would, if people pissed me off, I'd just shut it down and just be like, I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
I could live like 70 friends.
The thing is, you got to count them, right? You got if you're, well, not for me, but if there's people that have to know who is on their Facebook.
Yeah.
If you talk, my thing is like I have a group of people that I talk to at work, and then there's the show, right? So that's basically why my stuff is open. But
I have
mine's
very
all business.
Friends.
Yeah.
I'm best buds with all. That's the thing. Like my Marine buddies that I served and deployed with, we are still like, however you want to say it, ride or die or whatever. Right.
Right.
I would, if they called me tonight, they're all over the country too. I got friends, buddies in Michigan and Oklahoma and, all over the country. they could call me tonight, and if they said it's an emergency, I need you here tomorrow, I would be on the road in 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just the way we are. Outside of that brotherhood, I have like 2 friends out here in Arizona.
Right.
Yeah.
I have too many drunk friends from different drunk countries.
Yeah.
Well, that's one. I think that's what's cool about like, that's what I love about our shows, because first off, the veteran communities kind of let us in, a little bit.
It's been awesome.
And that's what's been nice, because they know, we're very open. We're not trying to claim anything we aren't. We're both sons of veterans. I mean, Eric's dad committed suicide, so we like to talk about the mental aspect of things too. So that's what's cool, is we know you guys, there's definitely a brotherhood. Like, you can meet another veteran and just instantly click most of the time, right? And
my 2 friends out here are Air Force vets. I mean, it's not the same thing, but
you won't hold it against them.
My only friends are vets. It's funny. It's not like I don't make that a requirement. It just kind of happens that way.
Right. Well, and it's they understand what you've been through. You understand you understand what they've been through, so as rough as it was for them. But
appreciate that comment though.
Yeah, no.
And like we say, when I talk to different people, because I had a situation this week come up, and we were talking about it, and I told the guy, like, look, I don't know what you're going through. Like, I can't even say, oh man, I know what you do. I know, like, no, I don't. But I've listened to enough people. I've heard a lot of stories, and I've felt the stories that have been brought to us, right? And going through with what my dad went through, and then realizing it's like, dude, it's everywhere. Sorry, it's everywhere.
Hand talkers.
Yeah, I know. Damn porgies. It's just that thing of like, man, like, I'll never say, oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you're going through. And I always go, hey, I've heard the stories of what you guys have went through. I can't feel that, but I can understand and listen to what,
because we've heard.
Yeah.
And we've heard so many different angles.
Yeah. Oh, tremendous. I mean, it's just been awesome.
I mean, that's like you sharing your story, Steve, to literally want to make your career, right? Make it your life. And then all of a sudden one day, in 2 weeks, hey, later, and not having, because the plan wasn't for that. It was the worst
thing in my life at the time.
I don't think we've had that. I don't think we've had that story of having an instant, like, hey, I'm going to do this 20-year thing. And then all of a sudden, no, you're not. Like, we've got a different plan. And guys say that there's a plan, like you plan something and somebody else has got a different plan for you, right? Like, there's a segue. Yeah. There's a reason why you end up in Arizona.
Oh yeah. That was my plan. And I said earlier, I hated it at the time. Yeah. I was pissed off at the world. I hated everything. And I was just depressed when I got out. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I tried to do a couple things, different internships and stuff. And my biggest problem for years after I got out was, I was very proud of what I did when I was in.
Yeah.
Right.
And, that's why I was that pride was why I wanted to stay in and keep doing what I was doing. And even still today, to a certain extent, I still have difficulty having that same amount of pride in what I do day to day. I work as an electrical engineer at the world's largest power plant. In case you didn't know, we have the world's largest power plant.
I haven't heard that.
Hold on, that's number 4.
Yeah, right.
Not world, sorry, the country's largest power plant.
Now he's corrected it.
But we're up there. We are the country's
one of those.
And we're our own country.
But still, I mean, it's a cool job, and it people are excited about what we do and everything, but it's tough, and that's what a lot of, I think that's really what veterans, I think that's, to me, from my perspective, I think that's what most veterans struggle with when they get out is those who got in and felt like they were a part of something big that was especially if there was something going on while you're in, and it's to be so proud of what you do and actually see that in what you're doing, and then getting out, and it's just like, do I get the same fulfillment out of what I do every day? And I suffered with that for like a good, 8 years or so after I got out, and it was rough.
So how did you, obviously, and here's the deal, here's the realism, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like your wife's an absolute rock star, right? With everything you guys have gone through.
100%.
And and she's in there in the other room. If you guys missed it, or we didn't, I don't know if we talked about it on the show or this was pre-show, but she's in the other room actually helping rebuild the pantry. you know, so because he's taught her, you know, how to do some woodworking.
Whittling.
So, you know, your wife's obviously a badass.
Oh yeah.
How did you guys find your way through, like, mentally, you know, because it's already enough you had to deal with that situation, but then now you got 2 little ones, you're married, you're trying to, like, how the F do we make a living here?
That's basically what I was screaming every day. I didn't in my head, not out loud. You know, I've always been really good at least for her. I think she respects that. For her, I do have this running around in my head, but I don't make it too public, even in front of my wife most of the time. And I've always found like a way to get us through. And she feels very safe and at peace knowing that she has complete trust that I'm going to figure out and do whatever we need to get done for our family. But at the same time, in return, what she, you know, doesn't, and I try to do better in my later years because I didn't do it very good in my earlier years, but I let her know that I couldn't do any bit of what I'm doing if it wasn't for her. She like you said, she's the rock star that's been at home. She's been my baseline. I can always come home, no matter what I face out there. I can come home and there's a baseline at home. Like, I know the house is taken care of. The kids are good. She'll support me in everything I do. All I need to do is I'm basically the decision maker in the home. She's good with that. And all I have to do is make a decision, and she's right on board with it.
Sure, rebuild a pantry, whatever it takes, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, even when I came home one day, and one day I'm out of the Marine Corps. Hey, babe, I was going to be a career Marine, and now we're at home. And then one day I came home and said, hey, I'm going to school full time. She's like, okay, it sounds good. I'm supporting you. And then it's like, hey, I'm going to go work over here and do that. And there's always support. So, and honestly, between her and it was really my faith. I had a lot of faith earlier in my years when I first joined. In fact, when I remember my first deployment, I was bored a lot of time. You know, war is 90% boredom, and then you get a lot of craziness. But my goal, my first deployment, was to read the whole Bible. I never did that in my life, and I wanted to read the whole Bible. Wow. I had a little mini Bible I carried. It was the full Bible, and I remember I only got through like 5 books, the first 5 books, which is the Tanakh, and I, you know, the deployment started getting crazy and all this stuff, and I kind of dropped it. But it wasn't until I got out in 2012, like I said, we had been going through a lot of issues, being gone for long periods of time, not being around for the kids, working like crazy even when I was home, and then getting medically discharged and then going to school. It was never ending. I can't imagine from her perspective how crazy our life was. And then it was around that time that I got medically discharged. We were like just lost, and we stumbled through the doors of Matt's church, Hope City, you know, that back in 2012, though, it was Calvary Chapel Surprise. And we stumbled through the doors one day and we fell in love, and we literally started going there from 2012 on. And that our faith and doing what we do together, and both of us that's the biggest thing. Honestly, me and her had all kinds of problems in the past. We used to fight like crazy, have the craziest fights. And once me and her started going to church and we put God first in our marriage, that's literally what got us through. We never cared about anything. That's awesome. I knew I was going to get through school. I knew I knew all that was going to come. Like, I never worried about any of it. It was just put God first, and our marriage just worked out, and our kids came in under our umbrella, and getting them in the church and preaching to them. And that's literally been our biggest thing since I think we have a very successful marriage. And I have several friends in my life that have come to God through it because of us. They said they love the image of our marriage. And like I said, we have a really old school traditional marriage. I'm the decision maker in the house. I definitely look to her for all of her input. Right. But I basically have veto power. Not to, you know, that's not like an established thing. Basically. And
totally understand.
She's a very submissive wife, and it works because she knows. People always think I'm like this caveman, you know, when we talk about it. But I always tell them, like, why is my wife so happy? Why am I so happy?
Right.
Because she's submissive. And if I love God as much as I do, and I do what he tells me to do, which is to treat my wife like she's the absolute best treasure in my life, then there's no reason like that marriage won't work. So that's literally what we've been.
I'll give you a little shout out. I'll give you a little shout out there on the bottom.
Oh, there you go.
Hope City.
So yes,
yeah.
So and that's why I did. Sorry, Steve. I wanted to point out that I think it shows a lot with everything you've been through, that, you know, your wife's still there. I mean, like you said, she's over there building the pantry while you're hanging out with us. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, it's you know, and I know I'm in trouble right now, but you know, my wife, I wouldn't get through half the shit I've done without her. So
oh yeah.
Well, I think that, you know, a lot of people say that the magic words is I love you, right? I think what I have found out over my last 25 years of being in a relationship with my wife is it's I appreciate you. Like, I appreciate you. Like, and then that, like, for us, we struggled big time when we started out, because I was delivering Cisco and she was at home with the kids. Because again, there's nothing wrong with daycare. There's a purpose for it and there's a reason. But I didn't want someone else raising my kid, right? And that and you know, and all, we had a different dynamic because we had the twins. So in reality, we had triplets because my nieces would come stay with us, you know, a bit, and so it was nice, you know. You came home, but in that just go lifestyle, it's like you forget, you don't appreciate it. You've had a bad day at work and you come home and you just take it for granted.
Or when you're going through
no, yeah, and
that roller coaster of what he's
again, I don't want to compare delivering food to the mill. By no means am I doing that at all. I mean, it's food, right? I mean, geez, I mean, what you guys go through and what our military family goes through is unbelievable to us, right? Again, we can hear the stories and all that stuff, but what you guys go through is just next.
But that's why I wanted to point it out.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely.
It's what they went through, and then, you know, obviously with the spiritual piece behind you, and your belief system, then that's what helped you. Because that's why I want to know, like, you kind of glossed through it. Like, when you really told the story, you just kind of glossed it. Yeah, we did this, and yeah, you showed some roughness, but you didn't really like, oh man, like this broke us down. And that's why I was like, I know there's more to the story, but
I've had to tell this story quite a few times actually, and for different circumstances. And I guess to me, it's just it's like reading out of a history book at this point, right. You know? And so, yeah, it's easy to gloss over things.
Right.
Yes. If I actually went back and I'm thinking back in my mind, my state of mind back then, like there was in 2012, I was on my knees, like crying out to God for like, what am I doing with my life? How do I get back on track? I was out of the Marine Corps. I didn't know what the heck I was going to do. And I had no clue. And yes, like, so he's talking about the comment that's up right now, you know, women that deal with Marines. Like my first platoon, there was 64 of us in my first platoon. I remember this because I tell this story often, but there were 64 of us. 30 of us were married. We were and we all deployed together and came back. And, you know, depending on the time, divorces happen and stuff. But they say, like, you know, America, it's like a 50% divorce rate. Out of 64 of my platoon mates, so out of 30 married couples, there's only 2 of us left.
Wow.
We had a reunion not long ago, and there's 2 of us that are still married to our original spouses that we were married back in the beginning of the Marine Corps. And so, yes, the divorce rate is, I think, way higher in the military, and not only higher in the military, but especially if you're in the military during a
combat
era. Yes,
right.
We're deploying nonstop. I think it's even higher, and so. Mine was maybe mine was a little crazier numbers wise, but 2 out of 30 married couples still together. And don't get me wrong, we've had our problems, you know, but we just hit this year is actually our 20th year, not married, but we'll be going on 16 years married, but we've been together for 20 years.
Nice. And congrats.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and like I said, so like that last comment, I'm legit. I always give crap to everyone. Always goes, oh, the spouse serves too, you know, and all this stuff. And I always laugh at that. 'Cause, like, don't get me wrong, like I get it, give them all the credit and all that stuff. But I always go, no, they don't serve. Like they don't serve. Like they're there serving their husband.
They deal with us, yes, but
yeah, but it definitely, I do think they deserve props because they do put up with a lot. And like I get screwed and I'm like told I need to go to the field for the next 6 weeks for no reason. And my wife just has to deal with that as well, you know, like,
right.
And she didn't enlist, so she has to do it. So yes, I think they deserve all the credit in the world. It takes a crazy woman to be able to stick out and make it through that. That's why I know, like, me and my wife we'll be together forever because my years now are way easier than any year we ever experienced in the first 8 years of our marriage.
Right. Right. Hey, I mean, it's It's true though. I mean, and that's why I did want to take a moment. You know, sometimes we know there's a backbone to some of what makes a family work, right? And point out the wife, and because she didn't do combat, but she had to deal with the situation along with you.
Yeah.
And you guys went through some scary stuff. So
I got one more shout out.
You got one more shout out.
So every morning, which is funny because it changed times whenever we went through spring forward, fall back, daylight savings. So I used to get
Arizona doesn't do that.
We don't do that.
That was my point. So at 6 a.m. every day, I would get a text from the Daily Devo from Hope City's Youth Matters, right? And
yeah, you don't have a filter on, so you can show it.
I got my Daily Devo right there.
There it is.
So we're by TikTok.
You're not gonna be able to show it.
So I get my Daily Devo every day.
Yeah. So what was funny was I have it in here. Hope City Daily Devo.
Mikey
said,
there you go.
So there's my Hope City Daily Devo, right? And I actually respond back. You can see that I try to message back and talk to him here. And so
does that work?
No, not at all.
Oh,
so
it's Eric really talking to himself.
Well, my point was this. It was 6 o'clock for 2 months, and then all of a sudden I'm like, 6 o'clock. What happened? 7 o'clock comes around. Ding.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
As soon as you guys sprang forward, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and then I think that's what I said. I said, I was wondering what happened this morning.
I thought they voted again to get rid of it. Well,
there's a whole process, and the legislation can veto it, and it's blah, blah, blah.
Why is it even a thing? I don't even.
So
stupid.
My point was the school. Yeah.
Year round for me.
Yeah. See, it's dope. It's awesome. But no, I just want to give a shout out because, again, it's the tools that we are given. It's the tools, this is our tool. This is my therapy. But so is the Daily Devo. Like every morning I get that, and I go through it. It's 2 to 4 minutes at most. I get connected with it. And again, cause Matt is who he is and all the good things that he does. And just the integrating, I love watching Youth Matters at Hope City. Like I love it. It's great. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's my mentality that I connect better with kids that age, and like it's a simple thing, but it's just entertaining,
Yeah.
So I had to give a shout out because he's been a good supporter of us and
we're Daily Devos.
Yeah. It's freaking awesome.
Hey, I do have a quick question. Is that your grandfather's hat back there? You have a hat hanging up? Yes.
Right here?
That looks like it looks. Oh, that's yours? Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought that was.
That's remember I told you.
That's your. Oh yeah, that's your shooting instructor. That's right.
Stewie.
Yeah. That was my nickname. Well, yeah, this was my campaign cover. I taught for years. This is my little going away present when I got out.
Now, did you have the whole voice and everything? Did you have to yell?
I where you have to talk all deep, scratch throaty, and then you
yeah.
I would get that from time to time, but I don't have to yell as much as his drill instructor. So,
all right.
I tried to be a little bit less, because my goal was if they were pissing me off, I would just call one of their drill instructors over, like, hey, take this dude off the range, like go mess him up because he's not listening.
Yeah, any beanbag rounds so you can just shoot them.
Start running. Why? Start running. You'll find out. It'll hurt less as you're running away from it. Yeah.
The farther you can get.
It was definitely fun though. That was honestly, so besides doing what I signed up to do and go to war and all that stuff, it was the funnest thing I did in the Marine Corps was marksmanship instructor. It was bright and early, waiting on the sun to come up every morning, ready to go down range. And I was teaching marksmanship and I did it all day long. And it was just awesome. And I got to be on the Marine Corps shooting team while I was there. So I actually did a little bit of a competition I actually competed against Army, Navy, Air Force, and the NRA. And I got to compete against all of them on the Marine Corps shooting team. And so I was shooting out. We basically shot out to 600 yards with ARs with open sights, iron sights. And it was fun.
Your spiel.
Yeah.
There you go. Right.
One laugh. Yep.
Yeah, Brian's the detail. Brian's got the detail.
Brian's got all those details.
I'll give him the Yeah, I'll do the voice drop when the targets appear.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, that was awesome. So real quick, Shadow Mark is probably going to hit you up to be on their show. Good, legit dudes. Everybody in our chat today has been freaking awesome.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
Every day's a Saturday is another podcast. We just want to get your story out there, right? We want you to be comfortable of just sharing it. And again, it's our therapy. So this is our platform. We allow our veterans to come in and tell us where they started, how they got to where they are, what they're doing now, and any, little inspirational things that us civilians can take away from it, to understand.
And other veteran, because, especially with the veteran community, from what we found is, it's knowing that somebody else went through some of the, you're not the only one that went through it. Right.
Yeah.
And definitely. That's why I have it's SITREP 22. That's another.
I knew that was coming.
What?
So Jason Steiner is the CEO, the inventor, the man, the myth that created Hero Stock, and it basically was a backyard barbecue,
kind of get
together, sit around, BS type of thing. And he has found out that through the contagion effect and everybody else, and the community as a whole, and how veterans support veterans, and that's civilians awesome. Love to raise up the veterans. This thing's gotten out of hand for him. It was a 1-day backyard barbecue, and now it's going to turn into like a 3-day freaking music festival, and in the middle of nowhere, Ashland, Nebraska. And I'm traveling. We're going.
Carlos is down to go.
Dude, I've got, and listen.
So now you're on, you got to join the bus on the ride there. I don't know. I don't know if Blue Line's still on there, but
hey man,
Brittany, we're gonna find out. You and Pat got to bring the bus. Now you're going to have a whole lot of company. Yeah. And of course you got Tonto that needs to go. So man, Steve, that was, I know you're like, what? Somebody wants to hear my story. I think you even told Eric when he originally reached out. You're like, I don't know.
I think I think that's what you said, right?
It's kind of boring.
Like yeah, but dude, that's
I'm not anybody special.
But that's the thing. To you, it's you just lived your life, right? But it's pretty inspiring just to hear your spiritual journey, your journey with your wife. That's, for me, that's huge.
Yeah.
And then your journey in the military, right? And how you adjusted going from one day, this is my life, to the next day they took it away from me, and now I got to readjust, and now I got a new life. So it's
Carlos is down to buy a flight.
Yeah, it's in the big dirt.
Well, I think it's going to be Carlos, Tonto, me, and Miller Mobile Tax Service.
Oh, Gary's going to.
Yeah, but he's going to try to get the tax write-off on the miles. So I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, but sorry.
No, a little segue. Sorry. Yeah, but no. And like Mike said, man, it was one of those things where I got the text. I'm like, dude, you got to get this guy on. Like, we love having stories like this. And I think once people realize that we're not setting veterans up, right? I've heard that a couple times now.
What?
I've heard like, hey man, this guy he's like, how legit is it? I'm like, oh no, here, dude, like we're 60 episodes in on YouTube. Like, watch one episode. And
by the way, you're episode 60. So
yeah.
Nice even number.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like I said, is like you apparently they wanted information. They wanted like a list of questions and stuff like that, because, well, what do you think about the government right now? What do you think about the president? I think is what they were going towards, right? We don't bring politics into it. If someone wants to say something, say it. I mean, it is what it is.
I'll buy a flight of mimosas.
So
comments have been on point, but we do, man, we so appreciate you. Now we do have one hard-hitting question that's kind of going to come out of nowhere.
I got it right.
Hopefully you are ready for this, because it's a big deal.
Okay.
So you and the wife are chilling out, relaxing. You finally get some time to just chill out. What's the go-to drink?
The go-to drink?
Yeah. It's real hard.
So
on the bottom.
My wife used to be she used to love a good red wine, but she's kind of moved on, and I'm like a stout guy. I like a beer.
Nice. So and, I cheated because I saw you grab that LaCroix, and I went sparkling water. He doesn't drink.
Oh no. I'm a
stout, dude.
I try not to abuse it, but I do. I don't like being drunk. I don't like any of that stuff, but I do like a nightcap type of like a stout or a porter beer. My wife, She went from wine and she's joined my dark side. She likes stouts and porters now. She likes a dark beer.
Yeah, it's very I don't want to say wine-ish, but there's a lot more intricacies on the stouts,
big words,
than it is like the lager.
Well, that's what I mean. Jamie could probably drink a stout because she loves, like, I hate coffee, right? And to me, every stout tastes like coffee.
They do like the chocolate or coffee stouts.
Yeah.
Vanilla bean. Yeah. So we have a brewery here and they support veterans. Blaker Brewing. They make probably the best vanilla bean milk stout ever. The milk throws people off, right? Because they think, oh, it's milk. It's just the lactose. And I'm a little bit of a beer guy.
I see the reason. I'm actually a wine guy. So
I'm a beer snob. I've been called a beer snob a few times by some of my friends, but me and my wife, that's what we do for date night. We like to go hit up like local breweries and we like to do like a beer flight.
Dude,
you and Eric get along.
Have you been to 8-Bit?
No.
Dude, 8-Bit Brewing has the craziest label. It's right there. It's 8-Bit Brewing. It's in Avondale. Is that close to you guys?
Avondale's close,
Avondale? Yeah, it's 8-Bit Brewing. They have literally, it's all of their labels are like the old school.
Oh, it's 8-Bit. Okay. Like Nintendo.
It's called 8-Bit. Yeah, it's like the Nintendo. The
8-Bit Brewing.
8-Bit Brewing. I couldn't remember what was there, but yeah, that is dope. And I'm trying to think. There's one more that's kind of a big name one, but anyways, I don't want to hold up.
Kilt Lifter.
Yeah, Kilt
Lifter. That's my local. Yeah, that's Four Peaks. That's Four Peaks. That's the local. That's actually one of my favorites.
There you go.
That's just a good drinkable. It's a Scottish lager. It's a good drinkable. But yeah, I don't drink a ton. I do, like me and the wife, we just like to do like a little for date night. We just go and we just do like a beer flight.
Yeah, a little flight.
And we'll split a burger or
my people right here.
I know. Look
at my people right here. I like it. Finally,
Eric's hugging me. He's all finally somebody that's like, all right, I'm a beer snob. Yes.
Oh man, I've got like 65 growlers.
Oh, okay, there you go. I like that my own kegs.
Yeah, well, it was going to go in our local brewery here in Houston, but there was a gentleman had some medical problems and passed away.
Hey, there's my buddy Rob.
There you go.
We went to Oktoberfest together out here.
There you
go. A haircut. I just cut the sides.
There you go.
It was hanging over my ears.
I need a haircut. That's why I had to wear the hat. And I had to rep 22. So
of course, yeah.
Yeah. Eric's you got to be so happy because usually we get a lot of the military guys, it's bourbon, whiskey, right?
Yeah, all that hard stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of the
I went through an era while I was still active duty where I did abuse the hard stuff, and I specifically stay away from that now.
Well, that's why we leave it open, because we understand with some of the things you guys been through, that's one of that could become a crutch, right? Or a problem. Yeah. So
it did for a couple of years.
We understand water has been an answer.
Yeah.
Or
I was like, Lori,
tea with sugar.
When Sean Laurie was on, he's like, yeah dude, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I don't do any of that.
And that's fair.
Hey, like, cool. It's tea with sugar.
Tea with sugar. Yeah.
I have not been to the Perch Brewery.
Have you been to Perch Brewery?
I have not
been. All right. Where's Chandler?
Chandler's on the other side of town, east side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably my buddy's down there, right? My buddy's down there working for Martin Power.
Self-medicating. You're right.
Yeah.
I did. So I did that for 7 years, and I have buddies that I served with that only did the first 4 years with me, actually. So they've been out longer than me, and some of them still self-medicate to this day. And they're the ones where if I get a phone call at 2:00 in the morning, I still answer because they might need me, and so that's why I stay away from it. Because I know it can, if you're using it for that type of reason to tap out and just get away from, like, it can be that can backfire. So I have a couple buddies where they can call me at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I always answer because they're still there. So,
or it's 4:20 somewhere.
Yeah,
that's Joey and Brian's world.
I can't wait to listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, and real quick on that note, not the note of that, but on the of your note of your story. Remember 988, call, If you need to talk to someone, we're available. Had the situation this week. Got my buddy. He's being taken care of. He went in this morning. We verified, double checked, made sure he got picked up. He was in a bad way, and he's not military, but just the stress of everyday life. You know, there's always an option. Taking your life should not be that option. This should not be the number one option. We're here. Reach out to somebody because you're important to somebody. You may not feel like that at this moment, but there's a reason why you're here on earth, and there's someone that needs you. Like someone needs you.
I feel you. I've been there too. Just like you, my dad wasn't in the military per se, but he also took his own life. So I know when I always tell people, it was hard for me to talk about it for years, but I always tell people like, hey, most people that do it, they don't think they're affecting anyone because they feel alone. They think they're just doing something that's only impacting themselves. Then they do it. And I always wish that they could just see all the people that it impacted, because it literally, if you saw the amount of people on this planet that loved you and are devastated because of what you did. So it's, I was on the same boat. My father did that, and it was while he was actually living with me while I was active duty. And, and so I feel you there. And I always, that's a close thing to my heart. And just like I was saying, where I'll answer the phone, certain people call me, that my Marine buddies, I'll pick up. I don't care how inconvenient it is. I could be in a movie theater and I'm walking out and I'm answering that phone,
right.
Cause I know it might be that final straw where they need to hear a familiar voice, and so, we're here. We want to all be here for whoever's dealing with anything. And we'll remind you real quickly that, how stupid of a decision that is and how much we need you here.
Yeah.
So
no. And again, 988, because we've, as Eric dealt with this week, we've dealt with some other situations with veterans where we were literally calling all over the country to get help for somebody.
It's been remarkable. It really has. And it's real eye-opening. And I don't mean to take from wrapping this up or not, but we've had 3 confirmed, like, hey man, we're like, this dude needs help now. Yeah. And it's just one of those things, man. Like, just like Shadow Mark said, man, reach out, because like for me, it was like, I didn't ask the right questions. What was the situation? And it was just, dude, my dad was just too proud to ask for help. He had some medical issues and he was on oxygen, and like, I get it, but I don't get it.
He just kind of went through, I don't want to be a hassle.
He just wanted to be a hassle. Else. That's exactly what he said. And it's like, so, but anyways, so again, appreciate you coming on, man. I mean, I know it's one of those things where, what do these guys want? Hey, dude, we just want to share your story, man.
And we held you hostage for almost 2 hours, so that's good.
I appreciate it. No, it was definitely a good time.
Yeah.
And you have that amazing backdrop too. I'm sorry I made you take the hat down, so you have
to I'll put it back up.
Okay. Oh, one last thing I just noticed.
The guitar.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
What's up with the guitar?
Grab it. Quick. Come on.
Grab it.
Grab it. Come on. Play us a little bit.
Oh, I grabbed another one.
Oh, yeah. So real quick, we're having a show on the 27th, and we've got some musicians, Schaefer Mueller, Shannon Book, Scotty Hastings, and I'm missing one.
Thank you, Carlos.
Yeah.
Blue Line.
Oh,
he's got to tune it up.
Yeah, it's a little. Sorry.
So no, you're good.
So that was some of our guys. They're like, hey, this is going to be what's going to get me through my issues, And Operation Encore, actually with Schaefer and Scotty, they've helped them become, these Nashville superstars, country superstars that are going to be playing at Aero Stock. Schaefer's, he's
all over the place.
That guy, like Bossier, if you're in Bossier City, Louisiana, you need to get your ass down in a little whole house and then listen to music. You know what I'm saying?
Are you what?
Yeah.
You ready? We're
good.
ready.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
What you got for us?
I don't know if you know this kind of music, but
you can wrap it up for us.
Yeah. Where I come from. First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing and a youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound. No one could change my mind, but Mama tried. One and only rebel child.
Hey, that was
but anyway,
that was awesome,
great, man.
Dude. Yes. That was awesome.
What do you want in prison? Doing life without parole. Yeah.
You look at and Shannon Book will be at Hero Stock next year.
There you go, Mama tried.
Freebird.
I gotta pull my lyrics up. I kind of lost my spot, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Schaefer's opening for Chris Young. So Scotty's actually what? Dang it, Dolly Parton.
He's doing a song with Dolly Parton.
She wanted to be part of his song, and Bryce Lee. I always mix it. Lee Bryce. Ooh, sorry.
There you go.
Nice.
And he just opened for Dave Grohl at the Super Bowl at a Super Bowl pre-party. Crown Royal pre-party.
Yeah. It's great, man.
It's
cool. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was. I'm glad we both saw it. We're like, wait a minute. I didn't see that guitar. That guitar.
I'm glad he turned that light off.
I know.
I don't play for anybody, so
you
just played for the whole damn internet.
Oh, that's gonna be on Instagram. Yep. It's gonna be on TikTok. It's gonna be on Facebook. I'm gonna make some money off of that.
There you go, Tonto. There you go. Man. That was awesome. Yeah, that was a great way to end the show, man.
Hey, thank you so much, Steve, for answering the text. We've talked it up all day. It's so awesome.
Yeah,
appreciate
great
the stories.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you went through a hell of a ride. You know, your wife, your family, and to see you so positive on this side of it all, and just. You know, even though you're sitting down, standing up and getting through, I know it probably doesn't feel well to stand up all the time with that back, but
we're sitting for an hour and 52 minutes.
Yeah, we're sitting here. Yeah. Like, come on, guys. Are you done yet?
Hey, give your wife a high five.
Yeah. Tell her thank you. Thank you from us.
Yeah. Tell her thank you. You know, thinking next year we're doing vacation at Surprise. I know I said it.
Well, you guys are going to have to go spend a whole week at
we're going to Nebraska this year, and then next year for baseball. I think we're going to go. So, hey, thank you, man.
If you want to hang out for a second, it's up to you. You don't have to, as we're just going to take a minute to wrap up and we'll be out.
Okay. Either way.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Appreciate
it. Dude,
woo!
Another one.
Flows.
Love it.
Dude. The flow.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Great job. Great job. Another great show.
Yeah.
Great stories. I'm excited about next week too, because this is and dude, he just posted.
Did you
see that he posted? He crossed over 500,000.
Yeah.
Like in like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. No, that's
I'm excited.
Maybe we'll get a hey, I'm gonna be on the Contagion effect.
We'll
maybe
see.
we'll see. One of those.
It's all right. It's all right. It'll be what it'll be.
So the dad bod veteran
on TikTok.
He's going to be next week.
John Wellington.
Dude, we're booked up, and April's half full too.
If you're a Gen Xer, you have to go follow Dad Bod Veteran.
He's fun.
It's absolutely great. So
yeah,
Eric,
we got deuces,
buddy.